Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Big Bird back with another video. And today I'm going to do something a little different. It's called Cooking with Big Bird. So as you can see, I got my egg noodles here, celery, carrots, onions, chicken. What are we making? Oh, homemade chicken noodle soup. So I'm going to show you guys how I do it. All right, stay tuned. So there's not a lot of room to work here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to cook the vegetables. So because I don't want to cook the chicken first, because if I do cook the chicken first, um, I have to cut it up later. Even though it's probably going to be cooked, I want to, reduce the chance of food poisoning. So I'd rather go ahead with the vegetable first and then the meat afterwards. That way, um, the chances of food poisoning will be very, very small. All right, so the first thing, like I said, was the vegetables. I'm gonna start off with the celery. Now I had to wash it. This was really dirty, so just gonna cut that up, and I'll show you how it's cut up afterwards. All right, so when you chop up the celery, even with all the vegetables, you want to have them looking thick. So this is how you want the celery to kind of look. You don't want it to be thin. You want it to be a little thick. All right. And now we're gonna go on to the carrots. Okay, so because I didn't use carrot sticks and I used baby carrots, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these down the middle. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go down the middle and cut them. And I'm gonna show you what that looks like. Well, that didn't go exactly as planned. When I tried to cut them in half, I wasn't really getting half. So I just decided to say, well, you know what? Instead of cutting them down the middle, just chop them in half. So that's what I did. All right, the next part I don't like is cutting up the onion. The reason why, because I tear up. So, wish me luck. So before I dice up the onions, I like to get them to a nice size before I dice them. So I like to, get them to this, and then I just go ahead and just, kind of take the knife and just chop at them like that. And I'll show you the finished product in a minute. Oh gosh, these onions burning my eyes. Oh, I hate onions, but this is how it, oh, I missed one. But as you can see, this is how it looks like. This is how I dice up my onions. Oh, gosh. Oh, oh. Whew. All right. Next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to, kind of, pan fry this for a few minutes. And then we'll get to the chicken. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of pan fry these. Now I did forget garlic, but we really don't need the garlic. It's just gonna add a little bit more flavor to it, but it's not necessary for chicken noodle soup. But it'd be nice to have. So we have a burner here. Put some oil in there, as you can see the oil right there. Just kind of switch that around a little bit. Okay. So got that going. Now you don't have to season it, but I just add a little salt and pepper to the mix. The reason why I say you don't have to season is we're gonna add this to a broth, and the broth is gonna give it all the flavor, and it's gonna add flavor because the vegetables gonna add flavor. So hold on. So So the way that I determine this is done is I go ahead and when the onions start to brown, then that's when I take them out. I mean, you really don't have to do this, but I'm just doing it just for for fun. So I'm gonna take it out now. I can see that the onions are starting to caramelize. They're starting to brown, which is pretty good. Like I said, this is really not necessary, but I just do it because of the fact of it's a little fun. Not to mention, you can smell the flavor of the vegetables. All right, so I'm gonna take it out now. All right, so the next thing we want to do is we want to cook the chicken. Now it called for chicken breast, but you can use thighs, which I have. Boneless thighs. If you don't have boneless thighs, you might want to, debone it, or you can, debone it. Basically because it's chicken noodle soup. It's not supposed to be. It's not like chicken and rice where you can just drop the chicken in there and let it sit in there and cook. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also pan fry these as well, just for a little bit, and then chop them up, and then we're gonna get to the broth. We're gonna make the broth. Now I'm not making homemade broth, so I got bouillon cubes, okay, and then I add stuff to it. So I'm gonna add in the vegetables, add in the meat, and then later add in the noodles. All right. So here's our chicken thighs in the skillet. The skillet's heating up, but yeah. Once I start to get a little bit to start to browning on one side, then I'm gonna flip them over, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I'm starting to see that these are cooking pretty fast, so I'm gonna flip these pretty soon. All right, so now I didn't cook the thighs all the way. I don't know if you can tell, but they cooked, you know, to where I want them, because I'm gonna, when in the broth, they're gonna be cooking more in the broth, and it's gonna give flavor to the broth, and they'll be nice and tender too inside the soup. So I'm gonna cut these up so I can show you what kind of pieces I want to cut them up to. So we're gonna kind of, you know, go down like that, you know, into like cubes. All right, so as you can see, this is kind of what chopped up it. Yeah, you can see some of it is done, some of it is not, but it's chopped up. And like I said, they're gonna cook in the soup, so you don't have to worry about food poisoning. And I'm gonna probably cook this for like an hour or two, so then that way it will be done. All right, so now I got 10 cups of water in here. I added 2 more cups. Usually it says 8, but I added 10 cups of water, and I'm gonna add in bouillon cubes. So with these bouillon cubes, for every cube you need 2 cups of water. So I have to add in 5 cubes for consistency. All right, so I added in the 5 bouillon cubes, and so when this comes to a boil, then we're gonna put in the chicken and the vegetables and let that simmer for like 45 minutes. After that, we add in the noodles, let the noodles cook. That should take about 10 minutes. And so then approximately an hour cooking time as far as when it comes to a boil. But you know, this is taking a lot longer because I could have boiled this already, but you know, this burner is small, so I can't really work too much. This pot is big, and then the skillet was really big, so I couldn't put them both on the burner. But I'll probably have to invest in something bigger. All right, but stay tuned for the boil. All right, so one thing I forgot to add was some thyme. I didn't have any thyme, so I got Italian seasoning, and that got thyme in it. So I'm gonna add some of this into the broth mixture, and that should give it some flavor, some really good flavor. Yeah, so you can see right there, that's being added in. That's gonna mix in, that's gonna give it some more flavor. And it's coming to a boil, so we're gonna add in our vegetables and chicken in there and let that cook for 45 minutes. All right, so now we got our boil going. So now we're gonna add in the chicken and the vegetables. Take a look at that. All right, let's dump it. Dump it. Yeah, there we go. Add all that in there. All right, we're gonna let this come to a boil, and then once this comes to a boil, oh, sorry. Once this comes to a boil, then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna turn it down low and cook it for 45 minutes, and then add the noodles in. All right, folks, forgive me. I forgot to add, doing on video, I had an emergency, but I added the noodles in, so you guys can see now it's done now. So pretty much I added the noodles in, they cooked. It looks pretty good. I'm just gonna add some parsley to it, and then, you know, go serve it. All right, but guys, thanks for watching. All right, check out my next video. Peace.